You are one of the Spirit's player reps for the NWSL Players Association. Over these last few weeks, what has your role looked like as that player rep for your team, with all the negotiations, the demonstrations that have been happening, the things even within your own team? So what has your role looked like as player rep?
Just being a source of communication and reference for, our players and the Players Association, kind of that middleman. We have Tori on our team, which is a huge blessing because she plays such a huge role in the Players Association. But yeah, Megan Burke she's amazing. Like, we're so lucky to have her on our side fighting for us. And when we, were deciding for the demonstration and what we wanted to do as a league together in solidarity, like, there was a ton of communication going on between the player reps and our team, and just communicating. Like, we wanted to do something that every single player was okay with and could get behind. And we knew that, it would be most powerful if we all did it together. And so there were just lots of Zoom calls, kind of like this, like after practice, just getting on, being present for those meetings to be able to hear the information and then pass it on to all of our teammates, and, answer any questions or bring those questions back to the player reps and get those things answered. So it's just been a lot of communication, really.
You mentioned asking those questions, and the players have gotten some answers, and we've seen some change already come from the league and really because of the players. But for you, what more do you want to see moving forward?
That's a really good question. I mean, the league has done a good job of being responsive to the demands that we have put out, and we are creating a better relationship with our demands and them listening. But I think in the CBA, like, things need to move a little bit quicker, and there are things that we are fighting for that are really important to us. And so I mean, in my this is just me, but like, free agency, that's something that's huge, or increases in salary. Those are huge things that will impact not only me, but the rest of this league, all the players and the future players that play in this league. And so that's something that is really important for us as a players association, as players. So I'm hoping that things can move along at a faster pace than they are right now. So that's probably the top of my list. And I know it's the top of a lot of people's lists.
Ashely, and with all of the ongoing CBA negotiations, there's also been a lot of recent reporting highlighting and detailing a lot of former players' experiences with certain teams and certain coaches, and they were very difficult and hard reads to get through, and so much so that there was a point in the season where games were postponed. There have been player demonstrations out on the field amongst the players, the coaches, and current staff. One of the stories that they came out featured a former teammate of yours, in Kaya McCullough, speaking about her experiences. When you read something like that as a former teammate, or see that come out, is that something that you're unable to process at that time, just because of everything going on with the ongoing season? And if it's not, is it something that you would like to maybe try to take a look at and focus on how the team moving forward can continue to be a supportive place for all players in the future?
Yeah, that's a great question. And when that first article came out, I think it's so hard because, I mean, I've asked myself this question a million times, like, realizing that the way we were treated as players was not right, and it's never right, no matter what the situation is. And I've asked myself so many times, like, should I have done something sooner? Could I have done something sooner? And, like, there's so many instances on the practice field, or like in team meeting rooms, where I've played over in my mind, like, should I have stepped up and said something? But a lot of us, I think, had to handle and deal with a lot of verbal and emotional abuse. And so I don't know, it's hard, but I mean, we appreciate Kaya and all these players speaking out, because when you're in the middle of it, sometimes it's hard to realize that the way you're being treated is not right. But once that piece is removed, it's kind of like a breath of fresh air, and you're like, wow, that something was wrong if there's this big of an impact when this piece is moved. So when it was fresh off the press, literally, and like things were going on among the club and pieces moving, it was for me, it was a really, really tough week, to have to like step on the field and kind of have a lot of memories and instances be kind of played back, and then have to continue to move forward. So I think the biggest takeaway for me is that I hope that this will never happen again to anyone or any player in this league. And that's why it's so important for, the Players Association and all the players. That's why we're all behind this. And we want this league to be a safer league. And we want it to be a league where women feel empowered to play. They feel safe to play. They want to come here and be like, this is what I've worked my whole life for. Like, watch me do my thing. And so there's a lot that needs to change, and that change is happening. But I think all of our eyes were opened really wide once we read these articles and kind of had these lived experiences. So it was really tough. But I think we're moving in a better direction.